We're with John Kelly. John is a personal injury attorney in Phoenix, Arizona. He's agreed to answer some online questions. With that said, John, let's go into the first question that was posted. First question was from Eric. He says, "Hi, John. Hopefully you can point me in the right direction. I was exiting the highway when a truck came along on the feeder, didn't yield, and it ended up hitting the back right corner of my car, spinning me and forcing me into the guardrail. I ended up with a broken rib and some serious bruising. I don't know if they are going to consider my car totaled at this point or not." He meant his insurance company. "I'm out of the hospital now, and I would like to know my options. Thank you."
Okay, so Eric has a truck accident, and there's three things that I think complicate a truck accident. One's going to be the injuries involved. Two is the investigation that we need to do. And three is the parties involved. So for Eric, I would tell him first, one is your injuries are severe in this accident. He's got some broken bones. Typically with truck accidents, they have more severe injuries, which makes them claims that get a little more complicated with the hospital records and that kind of thing. So the second thing is the investigation that goes into truck accidents. We need to look at who is the driver of the truck, who owned the truck, what was the maintenance situation, how long had the truck driver been on the road. I typically get an investigator involved in those kind of cases to start following up with those factors to find out what we have involved with the accident, getting the reports, reconstruction, that kind of thing. The third thing is that the parties involved are going to be multiplied with a truck accident. That means the owner of the truck, the company, the person who caused the accident, all the insurance companies that are involved with all these parties need to be contacted. You know, as far as his options go, it's a good idea in these type of cases. I don't always say you have to reach out to an attorney immediately, but especially in the truck accident with this kind of injuries, he needs someone working to start pulling all of this investigation together to make sure that he doesn't damage his claim and gets all the evidence preserved.
Okay, excellent. The next question was from Danny. Danny says, "Quick question for you. I was in a fairly major accident, which was my fault, and the police say it's my fault. My insurance is going to pay for my medical cost and my car repairs, which is great, but since it was my fault, can I sue for more money?"
Okay, it sounds like Danny is saying that it was his fault, and unless he has a situation where his vehicle caused the accident, meaning a tire blew out that shouldn't have, or an airbag went off and caused him to, you know, wreck, it sounds like he's not going to have a claim. Remember, you're making a claim for negligence here, meaning that someone else was negligent. So that's what typical car accidents are, or a company or, you know, provider of, you know, the vehicle failed in some way. And in this case, it doesn't sound like he's going to have a claim. You may want to just talk to someone to just double check on things, go over all the facts, and you know, most attorneys would be happy to do that consultation.
Okay, next question was from Amber. I was injured in a car accident a few weeks ago, and my insurance still hasn't paid me. What can I do to expedite this process?
Well, typically insurance companies are held up by two reasons they might be held up, I would say, in most cases. One is if there's hold up with the liability determination. Who's at fault for the accident? Are they saying that they think that there might be an apportionment at fault, or the adverse insurance company says that one person's at fault and your insurance company says you're not at fault? There's a gridlock there. So what she can do for that is to make sure that she has the right documentation, get a hold of those police reports, make sure the adjusters have those in their hands, and make sure that she has photographed documentation of witnesses that helps her side of the case. The second thing is that holds up a case or is getting the medical records to the providers. A lot of times you can't resolve a case unless you have all your medical records. They may make you an offer. It's not going to be one that you're going to like unless you get all those medical records to the insurance company. So those are two factors that typically can hold up a case. Okay, and the final question was from L'Oreal. L'Oreal asks, how did the insurance
company, how does the insurance company determine the amount of money I'm going to get for an accident? Do they just calculate the hospital bills and add to the car repairs, or is pain and suffering included?
Pain and suffering is included, and I always make sure to get as much details from my client to show the insurance company what my clients have gone through. Yes, they look at the medical expenses, they add those up, they make some determinations based on what treatment you've had. But people often miss out on lost wages, loss of enjoyment of life. You have to make sure that you're documenting the things that you no longer can do that you used to be able to do. So I always have my clients take notes on their daily recovery. It may be something as simple as I used to go for a walk with my wife, and every night now I have to stay at home and I'm on the couch. Or it may be something like I haven't been able to work as much and I missed out on a promotion. There's a lot of little things that you need to consider when making these claims. And I spend a lot of time on my cases building up those damages and making sure the insurance companies are actually looking at those and taking those into account when they're making their offers.
All right, excellent. Well, if you have any other questions for John, he's agreed to answer them. All you have to do is post it to the comment section below. Thanks for your time, John.
Thank you. Yeah, always available to answer any questions. Thanks, Ryan.